Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Tome Travelers. This is episode 15, and we are talking about the Emperor's Blades. We have finished it. This is our fifth book, and we finally finished it. And so we're really excited to dive into this one. So massive spoiler warning for the Emperor's Blades by Brian Stavely, which right here, solid book. But before we get into the spoilers, we have a couple of announcements. The first is next month's book is Six of Crows by Leia Bardot. Is that how you say her name? Leia Bardot.
I didn't know this, but I might have said this last time. But she did that Shadow and Bone series too, which I guess it's on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I didn't know that, but
cool. So next month's book, Six of Crows, and also we have our Discord open and available. The description is in the link of the YouTube video. So if you
the
want
link
to
is in the description of the YouTube video.
Is in the description. What did I say?
Backwards.
Is in the YouTube video of the description.
Yeah, something
Man,
like that.
It's been a day. And so yeah, make sure you guys join if you want to get involved with the community and hang out and stuff. Yeah, we have our fantasy question this episode. What's our question?
Which fantasy author would you like to have a conversation with the most? If you could sit down with one author, who would it be? Take this one first, Dylan.
Tolkien.
Dude, that's what I was gonna say. I'm not even joking.
I knew that's what you were gonna say. Either that or Sanderson, but I was like, I feel like he's gotta say. I mean, I feel like that should be like a lot of people's though, just because
yeah, he reinvented the genre.
No.
Yeah,
created his own language. I mean, you can't. I mean,
dude, I'm so upset. That's what I was gonna say.
Do you have a backup answer?
I mean, my backup answer would just be Sanderson, I think.
Yeah,
that's fair. I figured.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say Sanderson. Maybe Isaac Asimov, just because that'd be fun.
Yeah.
But I would have said Tolkien just because like Dylan said, like he created languages, like he reinvented the genre. Homie, like. He's blown my mind. Like I recently binged The Lord of the Rings as my yearly binge, right? And so when you do that, you get like the Tolkien itch. So I've just been diving into all the lore, and I'm just like, I want to have a conversation with this man,
Yeah. Then you want to watch The Hobbit, and then you want to read the Summary. Yeah,
it is what it is. It's a canon event. But yeah. What about you?
Fair enough. So I struggled to pick between Patrick Rothfuss and Joe Abercrombie, just because they're my two favorites, and the stuff that they've written is like, I don't know, to me feels really inspired. So I want to know like what motivated them. Probably Joe Abercrombie right now, I think would be my pick.
I feel like if you tried to have a conversation with Patrick Rothfuss, it'd just be, so when's the next book coming out?
Yeah. So I think it would lean that way. So.
See, my other one was Lynch, and I feel like I'd be doing the same thing. But I feel like he'd be really interesting to talk to. Yeah, I think he would too. I think he'd be really interesting to talk to. So in my head, I just imagine him as being a Locke. I just imagine him being that character. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think when I think of Joe Abercrombie, I think of Costa.
Yeah.
Like that's how I think of him. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that's just the thing in my head. Like that's his self-insert.
I hasn't got to meet Costa yet.
Yeah, that's true.
I haven't.
Maybe sometime soon though.
Now my next TBR is The Great Hunt.
Yeah.
Which, are we doing those at the beginning or the end of the episode? Like, what are we doing in the intermediate?
Doesn't matter.
We can do it at the end? All right.
Yeah, we'll do our TBRs
so
at the
I
end.
don't forget.
Who wants to take the synopsis?
I'll take it. Whenever we dive into episode 15 of The Tome Travelers. All right, so Valen has discovered the people who were involved in the plot to kill him, which were Sammy Urel and Balandin. I don't know if I said that right. But
yeah, Balandin.
Close enough.
But Balandin, who is a leech, he uses emotion to fuel his power, and this will be important later. Valen fears for Caden's life, so he and some homies steal a bird and go save Caden, because they're now like the
attempt to save Caden.
Well, yeah. Attempt to save Caden. Yeah. And Caden learns his newfound purpose and also finds that he is now the Emperor. He gets a concubine named Triste, I'm not sure, but soon becomes the subject of an assassination attempt, where he gets saved by Pyre, who is actually an assassin hired to protect Caden. So Caden was getting assassinated, trying to be at least, and he was saved by an assassin.
An assassin. A priestess of the death goddess.
Yeah, that was pretty
Skullsworn.
And then back at the palace, Arde kills the priest secretly, and Balandin tries to kill Caden, but unsuccessful because Caden has no emotions. I wrote this.
Well, it's not secretly though.
Yeah, it wasn't secret. It was in front of everybody.
It was in front of everyone, but it was like it was a dart, so it was like hidden because he.
Well, she announced about the dart though. She said, "Hey, I'm shooting with a dart to show y'all that he's a leech."
Yeah, once he goes to sleep, he's just gonna get burned to a crisp.
I'm not capping. I read half of this book today, so some things might have gotten through me. Baladin tries to kill Caden, but is unsuccessful because Caden has, what is it? No emotions. It's almost like he trained for this. Caden meets back up with Valen, and we flash back to the palace where Adare learns from a secret note that her father left her that the priest was not the one who would kill him, but it was in fact her lover. ...
Yeah, I love that Caden just becomes like what every incel thinks they are by the end of the book. You know?
Yeah.
I'm so stoic, I have no emotions. But like actually he's so stoic and has no emotions.
Yeah. Actual. So let's just I got a question down in the deeper in the show notes, but I'll ask it first. What was your guys' favorite part or scene from this book?
Ooh. Honestly, I think Valen eating the black egg, like Hall's trial, that whole sequence of stuff, that was really cool.
Oh, from the entire book?
Yeah, over the entire book, what your favorite scene was.
Here you go, and I'll think about mine.
I go. Oh man. See, I wrote this question. I had time to think about it, and I still don't know. I think I have it tied between this is weird. Whenever whenever the ship comes into the harbor and Valen goes to investigate, and the guy has his like hand on his like neck keeping the blood. I just don't know why, but that scene has stuck with me the entire time we've read this book. So either between that one and also the black egg when he eats the egg scene, that was sick.
I think I really like the scene where like Caden gets the no emotions and he's just like really like calculating with like when they're facing Balandin, and then he's just like he just knocks out Valen and then like use it like he takes the information from Valen's head about how the crossbow works and shoots him. I don't know why that one just like jumps out in my head more than any of the others, but like I just like how he kind of becomes almost like a robot and just like I don't know. He finally like gets where he was like working to get, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a lot of rewarding stuff in the last couple chapters of this book.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the second part fixed a lot of the problems I had with the first part.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Lot of them. Definitely agree. And it also answered a lot of questions we had too.
Yeah, I think the one thing that persisted was that we didn't see much of Adair. I mean, the developments we got were important developments, but we just didn't see that much of her still. But Caden got developed quite a bit more, I think, or there was like payoff for the development anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
think next book we're going to see a lot more of Adair.
Yeah. I wrote in the show notes that like for Adair, whenever we talk about her, that I just wish there was more of her. Because, like, I'm pretty sure in the entire book there were, like, 8 chapters from her POV. And, like, all of them were heaters. Like, every single one of them was like, oh, what's happening now? Oh, what's happening now? And, like, you can't say the same for, like, Caden or Valen. Like, they were so good, but I don't know. I wish there was more Adair or Dare.
She felt a little plot devicey, too, because of that, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, she only really came in to move the plot forward.
Right, but I think the way it was set up was it was like this book was kind of about getting Valen and Caden where they are, and then I think next book, because it talks about how Valen's going to the Capitol and all this, I think it's going to be a lot of more political intrigue type stuff with her involved.
Oh, for
and
sure.
I think she's going to be very important next book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this book still
I think
gives
Caden will
me
be less important next book. I think because he's going to go. I think it'll be more of what Valen and her doing in the Capitol next book, and then Caden like jumps in every couple chapters. And
well, Caden's going to be elevated to this position of like Emperor, where his concern, almost like Dalinar in Rhythm of War, you know, where he has to take a back seat because he's just not like an active player.
Yeah.
In the game, that's kind of the. I don't know. I was going to say that this book is still giving me Malazan vibes, even after finishing it. It still gives me, specifically the first book, which I can't remember the name of.
Gardens of the Moon.
Yeah, Gardens of the Moon. It's again, I'm not saying it's necessarily that quality, but like it has the same kind of like. Is texture weird? Is that weird? Or tone? I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
it's like fantasy, but bleaker, but not grimdark. It's not like just suffering everywhere because humanity is that like consciousness is suffering or whatever. It's just like this world is kind of dark.
Yeah,
but still fantastical.
Yeah, kind of like mixing those two things together. Like this almost gave me more Game of Thrones vibes because it was like I feel like Adare isn't like she's obviously important in this book, but we don't get a lot of her. And, like, that's paralleled a lot in Game of Thrones, where it's, like, you get a little bit of really important people in the beginning, and that payoff doesn't come until the end when they're, like, key focus, all the things happening within. So I feel like in future books, definitely Adare is going to be, like, a much bigger character. But, yeah, the grim darkness of it all, like, Caden, like, this throne power position thing or whatever, it's kind of weird, and, yeah. It's kind of the vibe I got from it.
I think there's also like a parallel, just like the leeches being kind of ostracized and feared and mysterious, and then the Cestrum being like ancient and unknown. Which I mean, those are things that happen in all of like sci-fi and fantasy and like narrative fiction or whatever. But yeah, it just gives me Malazan vibes. So if you guys like this, check out Malazan for sure.
Yeah, I definitely want to check out Malazan at some point in my future, but my TBR list is long.
Adding that series, yeah, for real. And then adding that series to your TBR extends it quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding. So, yeah, do you guys want to talk about Adare first?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's
so much. So we kind of briefly talked about in the synopsis about her like shooting the dart into the guy, knocks him unconscious, and then he burns alive.
Yeah.
Thoughts
on good riddance. Good riddance to Yuinian.
Yeah.
That dude was a bastard.
Yuinian, that's his name. I forgot it.
I thought the way she did it was slick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Talking about stuff it fixed though, like I enjoy, like it did basically what we called last episode, where it was like he was just like he was the one holding the bag, and it was really this commander guy that. Well, we assume from the letter it was this commander guy, and I believe it is. But it fixed what what we thought he was and what Yuinian was, and I enjoyed that. Again, I wish we had more of her, but seeing what's going on in actually in the kingdom, but
yeah, talking about like the commander or whatever that we find out at the end who it is. What did you guys think of the note?
That was it was shocking, kind of, but also not at the same time.
So it made sense to me because we learned from Caden and Tan that the Emperor had all these same abilities that the other monks have, where they can kind of really like they can read people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so we know the Emperor had those abilities, and so it's kind of hard for me to believe that he
was just taken in by some simple plot.
Yeah, was just taken in by some simple plot. So it makes a lot of sense to me that he knew what was coming, and that the person that killed him was somebody that had no emotion that he could read.
Right.
The fact that he's Cestrum makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a little obvious And we talked about it last episode, how we thought he was going to end up being the big bad. I just thought it was a little obvious. It didn't like piss me off. I didn't roll my eyes at it. Just,
right.
I think there could have been more layers to obfuscate that, and like,
I didn't mind that it was obvious. I agree. We basically called that entire thing last episode, but I didn't mind that it was obvious because, I feel like Stavely did it in a good way.
Yeah,
like
I think it was well written.
Yeah, I think it was well written. If it had been Yuinian, I would have had a problem with it.
Yeah,
because that was just too obvious.
Well, it was boring. It was like, where are you going from here, dog?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I enjoyed the way that he did it, and then also the way that like she has this revelation reading it, and then he literally walks in and is like, "You reading something, good or whatever?" And she's like, she literally froze, and she had to make the split-second decision of that time of, do I scream? Do I cower in fear? What do I do here? And she's just like, okay, I have to pretend I don't know anything.
Yeah,
play the part. And I really enjoyed that. I really think that sets her up for the next book to be a major character. Like, not just in the sense...
I just hope that he doesn't Sansa her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know about Sansa in the books. I watched the series more.
I've read the first book and I've watched the series. So.
Yeah, I've read the first book and watched the series. So I don't know how she is in the books, but I know in the TV show, every time Sansa was on screen, I was annoyed. And like when terrible things would happen to her, I'd be like, "Oh, that sucks." But then like 30 seconds later, I'd be like, "Oh, but it's still Sansa though. Like I still don't like you." So I hope they don't Sansa her and just have her as like a plot device or something. But
and until the end, she really didn't do anything to defend herself. Really.
Yeah. That's true.
Well, she was making moves. Like Adair was making moves. She just...
No, I mean Sansa.
But she was technically making moves with the other people. Oh, yeah, on Sansa.
No, I feel like Adair's gonna be the opposite. I feel like she's not just gonna take stuff sitting down.
Yeah, I'm optimistic about it because of the way she handled the Yuinian thing. Like, I'm optimistic that she won't just be a plot device or like a cardboard 2D cutout.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Yeah.
It's really all on her though.
Yeah, that's all I got on her too.
She had a couple big story beats, but like it was just two of them basically.
Yeah. I really like her. I want to see more of her. That's like my if I don't get more Adair in the next book, I might give up on the series.
Yeah. I don't know if I would necessarily take... I just want more stuff to happen with Valen and Caiden's like abilities, because the leeches are like pretty magical.
Yeah.
And then you have the giant birds, the Ketrol. Like, the world is pretty magical, so if they do some, cool shonen anime stuff, like, that'd be awesome.
It did what I wanted it to do and it connected their stories. It connected all their stories.
Right.
Which was really important to me to continue on with this book, and I think he did it in a really good way. It kind of connected Adair, but I feel like it could do it more, and I think that's what I was saying. I think we're going to see more of it next episode, or next book. Yeah. Next book.
I just see two ways. I see two ways that this series could be really good. In either way it goes, where it does lean into more of the like shonen anime side of fantasy with all of the magic that he's built into the world, or it's not even necessarily magic. Like the Skullsworn is kind of another example of like just cool badass stuff in the world.
Yeah.
The Ketrol are like cool and badass and like so if there's a lot of that kind of thing and it leans kind of more in the Sanderson-y like Mistborn Era 1 kind of style of book, it could be good casual fun, or if it goes more like Malazan or Game of Thrones, then maybe it could be like a
political intrigue type stuff.
Yeah, then maybe it could just be like straight up a banger, like a classic or something. But book one has just... Well, I'll get to ratings and stuff.
I honestly think it's going to be a little bit of both.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Like, I like how in the back, because I know you guys listen to the audiobooks, in the back it has like the almost like appendix like Sanderson does, where it's like, hey, here are the gods, here are the Neverum, the Sestrum, and the humans, and like what their ancestry is and things like that. And it's like the old gods, the new gods, what they do. And I really like that because the amount of like tiny bit of mention that we get from them, I can flip to the back and have like just a brief understanding of what's happening. And I like it when books have that. Like it just feels so much more massive whenever like they say something like, "Oh, she's an assassin of," or the
priestess
of the goddess of death. Yeah. Like, and then I flip to the back and I'm like, oh, who's that? And what does that do? And I get like a paragraph summary on what that is. It's not just like something that the author was like, this sounds cool, I'm going to put it in, but it's actually a built-in world and it has meaning. And I think that's cool. And I think that attributes itself to both like Malazani type books and Sanderson fun read type books. So.
Yeah, I have to agree. I didn't know that was back there. That's cool.
Yeah. That really helped me when I was reading a lot because it just like dropped a god's name and I'd be like, hold up, what? Flip to the back.
I like those little puzzles though, trying to put together the world.
Yeah.
But I mean, a glossary is not a terrible thing because if you don't want to look at it, you don't have to.
The good thing about a series too is like you can remember that for later. Like if it was just a one-off, then like it's really good to have those things because you. Yeah. But then you read 2 or 3 books with the same gods and the same, priestesses and all that stuff. It
becomes a little easier to suss out.
Becomes a little easier, yeah.
Yeah.
But okay.
Will we move on to Caden?
Yeah. Caden. Or do you want to do Valen first?
I think Valen was more. I mean, he was less the focus in the second half.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was really our main character. I feel like.
Yeah, I think so.
I think Valen was more the main character than the other two.
I think so in the first book, or in the first part. In the second part, though, I really feel like it was almost 50-50. Actually, at the end, so like the last couple chapters, I think it switched to Caden pretty hard.
Yeah, maybe the last couple chapters, last few chapters.
I would agree with that, but because Valen kind of has more story time the whole majority of the book, I would say Valen's the focus of this book. And then I think it just sets up Caden for the next book.
Yeah. Yeah. But all right, so let's talk about Caden. We see him kind of learning under Tan more, learning more about like basically remembering like, well, not really remembering, but like feeling his surroundings without being able to see of the what did he call it? Something of the body.
The flesh.
There's the flesh. The summon, the
Kinlan. Is that what it is?
The Keteron.
Keteron, something like that.
Keteron. The something of the flesh.
The flesh mind. Yeah, the flesh mind.
Flesh mind.
Yeah. It's the Kinlan.
See him doing that, and then we see 2 visitors come, and what y'all think about the visitors at first? Did y'all think they were there to kill him?
Yeah, I kind of 100% because we knew everything that was going on. I was like, "There's no shot he's safe."
I thought that they were the Ketrol in disguise. Honestly, I thought that they were the wing that had been sent up there. In disguise because it was what's his face, evil guy, Ural. It was Ural's wing. So I thought they were just undercover, like trying to get into a position to kill Caden, like covertly, and then it turned out to not be them at all.
Yeah, I honestly, I thought they were there to kill him, and then we see the knights and stuff come, and I honestly did not see that going that way.
No, neither.
I thought it was going to be way more like underhanded. I thought they were going to try to kill him, and then maybe the monk guy was going to try to kill him. But I thought that the knight guy was going to be on their side 100%. Like I thought he was going to be Team Caden all the way. But
Micajur, was that his name? Micajur or something like that?
Oh man.
Yeah, Urt or Ult. I think. Yeah, and we see him bring the girl in, and I'm like, okay, so this guy's trying to get on Caden's good side, and then they go in the tent, and like they're all talking, and then we hear, the thing in the back, and it's the kid. He's like, hey, they're planning to come kill you, bro. I really didn't see it going that way. I really thought like there was gonna be like a lot more like political stuff between him and the blind guy, and then Ult was just gonna be his knight captain, and then Pierre, or however you say her name, was going to be trying to kill him. So that threw me for a loop.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming either. I will say that this is the part of the book that confused me the most because,
I will
like,
agree.
I didn't understand the motivations, and I know he wants those to be the questions you're asking going into book two. Like again, it's not a thing I'm mad about. It's not a complaint. I have a lot of questions about like who the blindfolded guy is, which I want y'all's theories on that in a second. But yeah, I have questions about who the blind guy is, and then why the Cestrum took over the kingdom the way that he did,
and why everyone's going along with it. That's
yeah,
my
why
biggest
everyone's
question. Why
going
is everyone going along with it?
Yeah.
But so who do you think the blindfolded guy is?
So the blindfold guy, I think he's just, I don't know if he's Cestrum, but I think maybe he is definitely like maybe like some kind of researcher for him or something, because he seems to like be making these spiders and be connected to them. So he could be Cestrum since it's a Cestrum technology. But I don't know. I really don't think he's Cestrum. And my only like theory for why everyone's just going along with it is just that dude was like their big military leader, and he probably convinced them that Caden couldn't keep the Empire together.
Yeah, but you would think it would be more out in the open if he was like trying to sow the seeds of rebellion or something.
Yeah. Well, my biggest deal is like, why did Ult, why, and this is, or Ult, or what the guard guy, why did he turn? Because he knew him when they were kids. Like, I feel like it'd have to be something big.
Yeah, it's generational. I mean? Like it's generation spanning conspiracy is what it seems like.
Yeah, because I mean, he was the Emperor's like main like guard captain. Like, I feel like I don't know. It talked about. I think it talked about how he was really loyal too. So like I feel like it'd have to be something big, like some like.
So my theory is that blindfold guy is one of the other handful of emotion leeches, and that his works some way differently, where maybe he can manipulate people's emotions, like instead of it just turning into raw power, like with Balandon, maybe he has like some kind of telepathy or like mind control.
Okay. See, I was thinking the opposite of like you guys, where like instead of saying, okay, I don't think he's a Cestrum, if he is a Cestrum, what if he's Tanis from the prologue?
I don't think that he'd be as jovial.
I thought you thought Tan was Tanis from the prologue.
I know I thought that, but now I know that he's not that, because he's.
So you're just trying to figure out why the prologue is there, basically.
Yes, 100%. Because there's no way he drops
it introduces
these names.
Cestrum.
It introduces the Cestrum, yes.
But well, it also introduces the concept to us that humans are like the inferior children of the Cestrum. Yeah.
That's true, but
I don't know. The Tanis and Tan thing like still kind of makes sense to me just because of the names. But he does seem to have emotion in the cave, but maybe not. 100%. I don't know.
Well, no, because they're like emotionless, and he's like ahead of the order or something like that.
Well, but it's also said before that even the oldest monks don't have the like perfect Vanyate or whatever it's called, the blankness. Yeah. Like even the oldest monks who are the most successful like aren't always perfectly still and empty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But to me, like it seems like Tan, it seems like something is like really going on with him, because he just. Like when Caden was struggling, he basically just gave him a scenario that made him immediately find it.
Yeah.
And maybe that was plot devicey, I don't know, but it seemed to me like he knew exactly how to teach him and gave him like a little cheat code.
Yeah, I mean it gives I don't know. It's kind of like Gojo-esque in a way, if that makes sense. It's not like it sounds pedantic or stupid or shortcutty or plot devicey or whatever, but then the way he executes it's pretty tasteful. Like you believe that the character actually knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, like Tan is a bad motherfucker. Like it's not hard to believe that or get on board with it.
Yeah. Well, that and he fought all those spiders by himself and lived somehow too.
Yeah, exactly. He comes through. I mean, not without a scratch, but like he comes out pretty scot-free.
Yeah.
Yep.
Homie's goated.
Yep. And doesn't he fight one of the soldiers or a couple of the soldiers with a spear on like a rock slope or something and just fuck him up, like him and Pierre?
Like when they're Yeah, like right before they meet up with Valen.
When they're escaping.
I think so.
When they're escaping the
because it's him,
monastery,
Caden,
or
Pierre,
whatever.
and Triste or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're the ones fending him off. Yeah.
And then there's that other, the other monk that Pierre ends up killing.
Yeah.
He's slowing us down. Just kidney shanks him.
Yeah.
Dude, Pierre is brutal. Just, what's another death? That's just an offering to my god, basically.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a priestess for the god of death.
I know,
yeah.
It's kind of insane.
Yeah. That's pretty cool world building. I really liked that addition of having the priestess show up and it be like, oh, the priestess of the death goddess is like,
they're assassins.
They're assassins. They're like intimately familiar with death.
Yeah. Well, I like how it's so. I like how it seems like all the priests and priestesses of the gods, they like actually like have some sort of like, I don't know. So like the one that Triste is, or like her mom is, like they're all basically like, not really prostitutes.
Kind
of.
But it's all things like pleasurable, right?
Yeah. The pleasure goddess or whatever, and then you got the Skull Sworn or whatever, which is assassins for the death god. That makes 100% sense. And then you got this blank god, and they're monks that try to clear their
become
minds.
Empty.
Become empty. Like, I think that's really cool, good world building, like Whitson said. They're not just priests and priestesses.
Yeah.
And then also the fact that the largest religion is also the one where Yuenian's basically just doing like mega church equivalent of this world's religion, where he's just like throwing stuff into the pyre and then saying, give me your money. And then all these other priesthoods are like people actively participating in the thing that their god is like the god over.
Yeah.
Instead of just like
he was a leech the whole time.
And he was a leech the whole time.
Did we figure out what his totem was?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
No,
I don't guess it really matters, but his well.
We don't know what his well was,
matters.
But yeah. I want to know what Tall, is that his name? The leech, Valen's leech.
He tells you what his is.
Yeah. No, I know it's iron. I want to know what he can do, because I know he's like good. He's supposed to be good at combat, like close combat, and good with a bow.
Well, yeah, it said he got good at that because his powers weren't that strong.
Well, I want to know if like iron being his source specifically gives him like Mistborn, like where 10 gives you physical strength or whatever. I want to know if it's like that, where like maybe he does body augmentation and body enhancement magic because iron is his well, and then you know what I mean?
I think it's like a source issue, because the reason Baladin was so strong was because of the emotions that were used on him were so strong. So I'm wondering if like eventually maybe he can like feel the iron in the ground or something and can like pull off of it, and maybe like if they're on like a big iron well or something, like if they go to a mine or something and they're fighting in a mine, like I wonder if he can do a lot more. I would assume. But
I just want the magic system to be expanded on more. Not that he didn't do enough to like make me intrigued by it, because I want to know the answers. But I just hope there's more of it in book 2.
Yeah.
I hope we get to spend some more time with the leech and like learn some more.
Yeah.
Which I think kind of, well, I guess this is kind of moving on to Valen. Do y'all have anything more about Caden you want to talk about?
No, we can go on.
Yeah. Well, I will say, like, what do we want to talk about, like, where they're going and stuff at the end after we talk about Valen?
We can do that after Valen, yeah.
Okay.
Like, questions leading into book 2. I kind of think that Valen is going to become, like, semi-magical, at least. I mean, he's already like kind of halfway there.
Like, okay.
People. Yeah.
Yeah. He puts us in, like, this weird position, because we know he's older than Caden, but he doesn't have like the Emperor's eyes or whatever, and so like he can't have the throne essentially. So something's like gotta happen to him that makes him like, not that the fact that like he's oh crap, what are they called? What's his order called? I forget. Ketrol, yeah. Like not the fact that he's Ketrol, but also now like he did go rogue as a Ketrol, so they're definitely probably gonna kick him out. So something's going to happen with him that he has like some sort of transformation, I think. Maybe he becomes like a leech or magical somehow. I don't know, but there's definitely something more going on with him.
Well, there's some kind of parallel between him and the spiders.
Yeah.
Right, the Cestrum spiders. And is that the same animal that he was fighting in those caves in Hall's trial? Do we know? I mean, does it explain it well enough? Because it seems that way to me, but I also haven't gone back and reread it, so it could have described it totally differently.
Right. We don't know.
I don't remember. But it was a spider though, right? It was a huge spider.
I think so.
On a remote like island out in the middle of the ocean. So I'm thinking maybe it's like one of those spiders left over from, when the Cestrum were.
I feel like it's definitely got something to do with the Cestrum.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he can see in the dark and hear extremely well, and his like reflexes are better. Or so like Ketrel are already like semi superhuman.
Right.
Just from the regular eggs, and then he drank the giant like black egg,
right?
Drank a shit ton of it, and then his eyes like smoldered and became like the Emperor's eyes, basically. I don't know. I'm hoping that he's magical, but not in like a chosen one way.
Right. I'm excited to see where it goes for sure.
Yeah, like I said, it seems like he can like sense people, kind of. Or like he even like I feel like he even sensed emotion at one point, or maybe not emotion, but like he sensed like how I don't know. He could like sense that Kaidan wasn't feeling anything, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and he could feel fear coming off of somebody else.
Yeah.
At one point.
So I thought like maybe his senses were heightened, but maybe it's more of like I don't know. Maybe it's more like a empath type deal. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the spiders track people by their emotions too, though, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I'm wondering if these spiders have other abilities, and if he got them, is he fantasy Spider-Man? What's going on with him?
Fantasy Spider-Man. He just becomes Tobey Maguire.
What do you think about his crew?
Yeah, Gwenna, Anakin Tal. I like how at the beginning he was just like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
Yeah, but he got the best
with the bow. Yeah, he got the best demolitionist, got the best bow person,
best sniper, and then he got Talal, who's not the strongest leech, but I mean, fuck, he has a leech.
Nonetheless, yeah.
He technically got the best flyer too. He's got to like.
He's batshit insane.
Yeah, he's got to change his way to
Well, then they came up with the new hooks. Which I will say that was the scene in the book that gave me the most Sanderson vibes. I was getting so many flashbacks to Rhythm of War reading that section. Raboniel was going to show up.
Yeah. I think him and I like how the flea was trying to help him too become a better commander. I want to see how their relationship evolves, because I know right now the flea's coming after him, or he believes they are. But I'm wondering if maybe the flea is going to. I'm hoping the flea's going to end up being a good guy and see that he's trying to help the Empire or the actual Emperor and help Kaidan maybe.
Do you think it's going to go down that way? Do you think the Aerie is part of the plot?
I think that's too easy.
No.
Yeah.
Do you think the Aerie is in on the plot? Like Ketrel Command?
Yeah, I think they've got to be. I mean, if you're the commander guy and you've got all these, you've been planning this for a long time, why would you not get the best fighters in the?
Yeah.
And I feel like Sammy Earl also didn't come up with that plan by himself. I feel like someone had to been hey, this is what's going on.
That's where I've been at with it, because since Sammy Earl, but he didn't know Mikager or whatever. He didn't know the guardsmen. They didn't know each other. They had to introduce themselves, and then Valen showed up and said, "Hey, right. Sammy Earl's here to kill Kaidan. You can't let." And then he said, "Oh, well, that bolstered my cause. Thanks for vouching for me."
Yeah, but I don't those are two different guard people. You know what I mean? I don't. They have nothing to do with the Kestrel. So Kestrel Command could still have something to do with it, and then it's not like they have cell phones. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And I mean, it's a secret plot to murder the Emperor and his children, so you can't really, can't just be sending a dove across the country with that, or pigeon or whatever. because doves aren't the greatest messengers. Yeah, that's kind of where I was at with it too. It's like Sammy Earl obviously wasn't doing that alone. He was an idiot. Like there's no way that he's the one that came up with the plan. And he just has no motivation to kill Kaidan, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Or it didn't establish any motivation for him to want to kill Kaidan. So we think that Rand also put Sammy Earl up to it.
I feel like somebody had to have told Sammy Earl what was going on. Like I don't feel like he just was like he didn't just automatically know there was going to be a plot to kill the Emperor and all that and go after Valen.
Or where the Emperor was.
Yeah.
You know.
Did he take credit for what happened on the ship?
No, I don't think he ever did.
I don't think they took credit for that. So I think that was probably the Flea's crew, because he knew exactly where they were.
Yeah.
I think that was probably the Flea's crew. And then Command, which the lady that, or the main, basically the principal of the school or whatever, she was on Sammy Earl's side. Like she was like Sammy Earl all the way. And like took his word for it when he said that they killed the whore that was said that his crew killed the whore and it killed the whore or whatever. And then so I feel like she's probably got something to do with it. And if she's Command, she's probably got the Flea and all those people. Like she's probably got everyone else in on it. So I feel like it's
one other wing. Probably.
Yeah, at least one other wing. Yeah, but I feel like definitely like something was said to Sammy Earl. You know, like this is what's going on. Well, you need to go get in the good graces. Blah blah blah. So.
Yeah, which planting someone and assuming that they're gonna pass Hall's trial and all that is kind of ballsy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
But I mean, they could have been getting help the whole time too. I mean, they had Balandin, and they knew Balandin was an emotional leech.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure that whoever it was sent Balandin with Sammy Earl.
Yeah.
And Balandin made it seem like in his final like conflict, he made it seem like Sammy Earl was just the figurehead, and like Balandin was actually running things.
Yeah, but then he was talking
was the vibe
there.
That I got.
Yeah, he was talking there at the end and was like basically like his Sammy Earl's disposition has helped me a lot, but I'm basically the one in charge.
Yeah. Yeah, which also good riddance. Good riddance to both those motherfuckers.
Balandin's not dead.
Is he not? I thought he fell off the cliff.
Yes.
Yeah, but
it fell off
the cliff.
No body, no death. No body, no death.
Nobody, no dead.
I was gonna bring that up too. I was like, he's not dead, because it said like Kaidan shot him with the crossbow, right, and he fell off the cliff, and that's it. I'm like,
but
he's still alive.
I mean, you're probably right. But also, he did knock out Valen, and like, there's no one around for him to draw anything from.
Yeah, but I mean, he could have had. I don't know. He could have had. I don't know. Maybe like the last second, he like figured out how to draw off his own emotion because he was feeling fear or something. And I mean, that's a little plot devicey too, I guess. But maybe he made the bolt miss, or it's not like Kaladin's a dead shot either, you know.
Yeah. Well, I also want to know.
You said Kaladin.
Yeah. I also, that's another reason I want to know about the leech's powers, because can they store it like after they draw on the well? Can they like just hold on to that energy and not release it?
Yeah,
but I'm assuming with the term well, like I'm assuming they have to keep pulling from the well, so I'm assuming they can't. But you never know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I guess if they can't act as like a battery for it, then.
But I mean, emotion. I mean, he has his own emotions, so to me, like he should be able to pull off his own emotions.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how like hard or soft this magic system is, basically. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it seems like a pretty hard magic system.
It's just we don't know enough about it yet. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like investiture levels of hard magic system. Though.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, do we have any other story beats to hit?
Yeah, Kaidan and Valen are back together now. I know Dylan, you wanted to say something about that.
Yeah. So we see them get together at the end. Well, do we want to talk about real quick about how Valen handled killing Sammy Earl? We see him cut his arms off, and we think we think Valen's getting darker. Like, do we think there's
going on
evil
a
in him
arc?
now? Yeah. Well, I mean, just do we think he's going to be a little bit more? Because it talks about his emotional state, and it talks about how he was like feeling not necessarily. Well, I guess he was feeling darker than he usually would, or something. Do we think that the egg maybe made his emotional state or like his conscience, like maybe we're gonna see like an internal, like a Ichigo, we got a hollow inside, or like what?
I don't know.
That does seem to kind of be what it's setting up for. Also, Han's death, I think, really fucked with him, especially once he knew that it was Valendin and that she was like tortured.
Yeah.
And tortured twice.
Yeah.
Like, I think that definitely changed a lot for Valen's character. I think he is going to be darker and more brutal in the next book.
Dylan, you kind of like got my gears turning with that question though, because like now you've got me thinking like, okay, yeah, the egg or whatever, it turned his eyes, like the deep black or whatever, right? So what if like also now he like just emotionally starts becoming darker and wants to take the throne from Caden, and then it's an inner family conflict.
Yeah, it could end up that way. I mean, I don't know why it couldn't. Do we think that's what's going on there?
Maybe
I don't know, but Dylan's question prompted that thought.
Maybe he becomes more like Sestrum-like or something.
Yeah.
And starts becoming like emotionless.
I don't know.
Yeah, starts viewing people with emotions as like less than.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is also kind of an emotional
things to think about.
Yep. Other than that, though, I was just gonna say, we see them get back together, and Caden wants to go find this, tribal like warrior monks to try to figure out how to fight the Sestrum. But he doesn't want Valen to go with him. He wants Valen to go to the Empire and figure out what's going on. And I think the only one he agreed to take was Tan, right? I think he didn't even want the Skullsworn girl to go with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right.
Because she was freaky.
Is Trist going with him?
Maybe.
I forget. Let me flip.
I don't remember.
Yeah. He said Tan and I are going. The rest of you are returning to Anor. There's no more to matter unless you would disobey your emperor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's wanting to send everyone away, which you would think he would want to keep like maybe like one other person with him, but whatever. But so we see them. They're gonna go to the capital. Do we have any like ideas on what's gonna happen?
Dude, I have no idea. Like, I think, is Adare even gonna confide in them about their dad? Because like her dad's letter said, trust no one, have no faith, have no trust, only believe what you can feel or see or whatever. And so I don't know what's gonna happen. I just know that things are going to happen.
Yeah. One thing is like, oh god.
No, you go.
Well, so I'm wondering like what their relationship's going to be like, because Valen and Caden like kind of just snapped right back into things a little bit.
Sort of.
Sort of, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering like MD said, is she going to trust them at all? Because Valen is just going to be a catch-all, one, and two, he's going to have like these deep black eyes, and he's going to be surrounded by the other catch-all that are brutal murderers. Typically that's their disposition. So is she going to trust him at all, or is she just going to be like, I don't know you from fucking Adam. Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Here's my theory. I think they're going to be heading to the Empire, and the fleet and his crew are going to be after him. And I think there's going to be a confrontation there before they even get back to the Empire. But I also think there's going to be another wing that's at the Empire, maybe saying like he went off on his own. He was like in a plot to kill Caden to try to take the throne for himself. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of like political lies and shit going on. And like you said, I don't think Adair is going to know what to think.
Yeah. I'm thinking there's going to be a snare set for them at the Capitol if they don't end up in that like a conflict with the Flea or Adam and Fane or whoever.
Yeah, and like I said, I think a lot of it's going to be focused on Valen and Adair next book. I think we'll see some of Caden going to see the warrior monks and like maybe like training with them. But I think like the main like
we get a training montage.
Yeah, we get a training montage. But like I think the main like meat and potatoes is gonna be the flee after Valen, and then Valen and Adair trying to do political stuff in the capital, and Valen maybe trying to clear his name.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think that's most likely where like Caden takes Adair's role from this book, where he comes in, they answer some big question, move the plot along, and then go back to Val and Adair.
Yeah.
Well, do we want to get into our ratings?
I think I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm done.
All right. As always, we rate on 3 things: setting, character, and plot. And so we can start. Who wants to go first? Dylan?
We start with setting?
Yeah, let's start with setting. What do you think? Scale 1 to 10.
Setting's kind of low for me because like the main like reason it would be high for me is like world building, because I enjoyed the magic system.
Yeah.
The birds, all that, like the Kestrel, like we were talking about. So it's I like the world building, but as far as like actual setting, I don't know. Are we grading those separate?
Like, I mean, world.
I think it's kind of aggregate.
Yeah.
Right, like it's where you're at on both of them.
So I'll just say this. I'll go ahead and I'll give it a 7. I'll give it a 6.5 because I really enjoyed the world building, but as far as like setting, there wasn't anything that really just stood out to me. I mean, the monks area was like pretty well described, but I mean, then it's just like it's just a mountain, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like we can do a lot more with the setting.
Yeah.
About you, Whitson?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 6. It didn't do anything like offensive, and the world building, as far as like the magic and the religion and the structure of like the government and things like that stuff was all very interesting. But like you said, he only really described Hook, the island that they travel to from the Ketrol base, and the monastery. And that's it. He didn't really describe the setting for any other scene. It was just like, we're in the palace, and then here's dialogue.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it. So I'm giving it a 6.
I hear you guys. I'm gonna give it like a 7.5, and I think the reason why I'm a little bit higher is because like I really enjoyed the world building, and like I was constantly flipping back to like the glossary or appendix or whatever, and so I think I was a bit more immersed because of that aspect. But the reason why it's not higher is for the reasons that you guys listed. Like, we're really only at the monastery. We're really only on the island. At the very end, like, Valen flies, but he flies directly to, like, the same place. So we don't really get to see a lot of the world. I think that there's the potential for it to be way cooler in future books. And so I'm hopeful for that, but I'll give it a 7.5.
Yeah. See, if we could, that's what I was thinking. Like, if we could split world building and setting, then world building would be way higher and setting would be way lower. But putting them together, like,
I think one thing that he did well in this book, and it's kind of what we're complaining about, is not giving us the first book is the journey on this long road through all these villages and this forest and over this mountain, and here's the world. He didn't do that, so we're kind of bitching about the setting right now. But then next book, we're way more invested
on a journey.
in Valen. We're way more invested in Valen, and maybe like for the first half of the book, he's having to fly the bird low and land often, and they're having to camp, and like we see more of the world. But we're already invested in the characters, so we're not like as pissed off about it.
Yeah. Well, that's what like I'm just rating. Like, I think we're all just rating setting for what like we think of setting, but like the world building's great. The world building's there. I really enjoyed the world.
Well, I will say that the thing that makes it feel a little bit hollow to me is that we don't have characters or locations that are representations of like the religions or the the different orders or whatever.
Well, I mean,
the Ketrol and the Shin have their their location.
I just don't think we know of the locations of the other places, though.
Right. Yeah.
I think they exist. We just don't know them, and so But I think that's part of it, is the fact that we don't know yet.
I think that's what my deal with it is the fact that there's a lot of potential for this world. Like, talking about, I mean, you have an empire. Like, I can only imagine what the main city looks like with the castle and all that. And then you've got all these temples for all these different gods. And like, if we looked at the map of this world, and I think there's one in the front, isn't there? The book?
Yeah.
Is there a map?
Yeah,
if we look at that map, like, I feel like there's a lot of potential for what
for sure.
Like, setting could be.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, think of it kind of like, to bring back my metaphor that I always use, like Stormlight Archive, like book 1, Shattered Plains. Book 2, we zoom out. Book 3, we zoom out even more. Book 4, we zoom out even more. So like, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And so, like, maybe that's what's going to happen with this. So like, while now it may seem small, I think it's going to grow to this massive scale.
Well, you got to think too. We just came off Lies of Locke Lamora, which that's the setting is. He does such a good job describing it too.
That's true.
So,
but anyways, moving. Oh,
I hope he does zoom out, because like, I'm looking at this map.
Yeah.
Right, and it's pretty small. Like, the Ketchroll Islands are somewhere over here.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
The Kirin Islands, is that right? Is that where the Ketchroll are from? They're here, and Caden is here.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they're geographically like not that far apart.
Yeah.
It seems
and
like.
It talks about how they have a whole empire too, and how there's this other group on their borders, and that seems small for an empire to me. But maybe it's like bigger scale than we think.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I think that is the whole empire. Also, it says the Anurian Empire on it.
Yeah. That is. It says the Anurian Empire.
But I don't see, like, I don't know, we could probably go over the map and make shit up all day, but until it's in the text,
Yeah.
All right, how about we just go on to characters then? Matt, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I'll start with character. I think this will probably be my lowest. And I'll give it, I think, probably just a flat 6. Like, they were good. I really enjoyed them, but we had so few, and like, I wanted more of Adair and I didn't get it. Whenever I wanted more of Caden, he just kind of became this like emotionless, which was cool, but it also wasn't that great to read all the time, And then Valen was cool. I really liked his arc and his progression. I think they have the potential to get higher, but just for this book specifically, I don't know. I feel like there just could have been more, So I just give it a flat 6.
I feel like I feel like most of them are very 2D.
Yeah.
I feel like we would get hints of 3D, and then, but I don't feel like there was enough. And I'm hoping, like you said, I hope like in the next books, we're gonna see them grow, and we're gonna see them like understand them more. Which I guess a lot of the reasons, well, not a lot of the reasons they're 2D, but like they could stay 2D because all the emotion, like we're trying to be emotionless with a lot of it feels like that's a lot of the theme of this book. I don't know. I'm gonna give it like a 6 too. I'm gonna give it, yeah. About you, Whip?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think I'm gonna give it a 5 for characters, and again, that like, if I didn't enjoy it, it would be a 4 or lower.
Yeah.
I'm not offended by the characters, and I don't hate them, but I don't love them, and I'm not really excited about them either. Like, Valen is probably the one that I liked being with the most.
Yeah.
But him and Caden both, it wasn't so much their character, it was the things happening to them and around them.
Oh, yes,
yeah, that's
exactly.
a good point. Yeah.
And they kind of just went with the flow with everything. And like, they made a couple mistakes, and like there were a couple dialogue things where it's like, oh, I said something shitty that I shouldn't have, I regret that, or whatever. But by and large, they were just the sum total of things that happened to them.
Yeah.
And they weren't very specific.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. And that's why I was saying they seem really 2D to me. I feel like the main part of Valen even that we saw where we could get like a feeling for his character and everything was when Hal Lin died.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. There were a lot of those moments where I was like, "Oh, Valen could become like a really cool character now." Yeah. And we got a glimpse of it. We got a couple glimpses of it in the last couple chapters with him becoming darker and brooding because of all the shit that's happened to him, and like being specific and flawed in like a unique way.
Yeah. I think that's why I lean more towards a 6 than a 5, was because it was like I see the potential for the growth there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fair point. A 6 would have been totally reasonable too. I think
you verbalizing that, Whitson, like really like turns my cogwheels and gets that going. Because like you said, Dylan, it does feel like they're 2D, but I think they're 2D because they're constantly in a state of reaction and not in a state of actually doing anything. You know. So it's
they haven't had a lot of agency yet in the story.
Yeah, how are they reacting to everything going down on top of them? And we don't get to see like who people are when they can make their own choices, you know?
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's kind of where I was leaning to with the emotionless thing, because it's like one of them's training to be this like hard-ass soldier that's got to basically be emotionless or they're going to get fucked up. And one of them is literally training to be emotionless.
Right.
And so it's like, and I feel like Adare is the one we got like the most, like we see the most of her character, and we only see her for 4 chapters.
Yeah,
and maybe it's because they're products of their environment.
She was raised in the capital. She wasn't.
Yeah. I think we'll just have to keep reading to see.
Yeah.
But for now, like they're pretty low.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's a good question to follow up, because we gave it pretty low scores, but. Is it going on your TBR? Are you going to read book 2?
Yeah, I want to read the next book right now.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly.
I already ordered it.
Yeah. And that's where I'm at too. I'm going to read the second book. It's not at the top of my TBR, but it's on my TBR.
It's on
like it's going to get read.
That's what I feel like we give like less than like amazing ratings, and we're telling people not to read the books. That's not the case at all.
Yeah, read this book. It's a good book. Like
if we couldn't get through it, we wouldn't do an episode, or we wouldn't do a podcast over it.
Yeah.
Like it's good. It's just
there is better out there.
Yeah, the thing is like we read a bunch on this podcast and also just a bunch in our personal lives, so we have so many things to compare things to that it's like it's not fair. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if you took a high school athlete and put them up against like a pro athlete, like obviously there's discrepancy, but like if for a high school athlete,
still be
that's
a good
really
player.
Good. He's a great player.
He's a good player.
It's a great game to watch, you know?
Yeah.
But
and I'll honestly say I'm usually pretty snobby about just things in general.
Oh yeah,
and
I'm well aware.
I had a perfectly fine time with this book. Oh,
I'll say that right off the bat. So like the first half was harder for me to get through, but the second half I sat there and did it all in one day. Like I said,
me too.
And I paid attention. Like I was into it. Like
yeah.
But Whitson, you want to take plot?
Yeah, you take plot first.
Sure. I'll give this one like a 7. I think he did a pretty good job on the plot of like making us curious, because the questions that we were asking after the first half were the exact things that he went in and answered, like largely in the second half. So I think he did a pretty good job. I'm curious of where it goes next. I want to read the next one and find out. Yeah. There's political intrigue. There's interpersonal relationships, even if they're not very deep or like complicated yet, but they're still there. I give it a 7. It was good.
Yeah. I'll probably give it like a 7.5, slightly higher. I enjoyed it, but I think the things that I don't like about it were like things that we mentioned where like, we obviously knew it wasn't the priest. So who was our second guess? Yeah, it ended up being him, you know? And like, it was very predictable in a sense at some places, but then also in other places, you know, things happen that we don't even have the answers to. And so the mixture of the two kind of don't give it that high enough score for me, but it was still really good and enjoyable. I liked it. As we talked about earlier too, like the plot kind of carried the characters. So I enjoyed it. 7.5.
I agree with everything y'all just said. I think that, like Whitson said, a lot of the things that we had said we wanted changed in the first part, he did every single one of them in the second part, except maybe one or two. It connected Kaladin, or it connected Caden. It connected Caden and Valen. Stormlight on the Mind. It connected Caden and Valen like I wanted. It had the political intrigue, like Whitson said. We had a murder mystery in the first half of the book.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the plot, and I'm gonna put world building into the plot too, because I feel like a lot of like the things that are going on with the plot are gonna end up doing with the world building, like the Skullsworn. I think we're gonna run into more of them. I think the Blank God, like I think the gods are gonna have a big part. So I'm putting world building. I'm probably gonna give it. I'm not. You know what? I'm gonna give it 8. I'll give it an 8.
I respect it.
Just because I feel like it did. I feel like it did carry me through the book. I feel like the plot did, and especially the second half. Like I said, I sat there and listened, and I want to read the next book. So like, to me, it did a really good job. My thing with what Matt said too is it being predictable. I agree, but I feel like it did it in. I feel like books are gonna be predictable sometimes, and I feel like it did it in the right way. Like I don't feel like it was like
corny.
I don't corny. Yeah, I don't feel like it was corny.
I
feel like it was what it set out to be.
For sure. I agree. Like books are going to be predictable, and like it's a good thing for that to happen. And so yes, I agree with you there. I just think that on top of the fact though that like there's still a lot of things that we're just kind of like, wait, why did that happen? Those questions are still, that kind of like levels it out for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's also where I'm at with it. Like a lot of the questions that he's made me ask, I'm like, the ones that he has answered, I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like he made me wonder, and then he, rewarded me for being curious and paying attention later.
Yeah.
But there's quite a few things in there also where like the answer wasn't super satisfying. Like the vignette kind of stuff to me was like a little weird. I don't know.
I feel like we're gonna get a lot more out of that though.
Oh yeah. We're gonna get a lot more out of a lot of things.
Yeah, I don't feel like the vignette is just becoming, because we see Caden do it a little bit where he takes how to use the crossbow from Valen. I'm wondering if eventually he can pull on that more, like learn how to fight.
Yeah,
like almost like a robot, like downloading how to do things.
I'm thinking Sharingan, like Kakashi Sharingan.
Yeah, just copy.
But nothing in this book was bad or offensive, or it never felt like it was a waste of my time. It was a fun read.
Yeah, fun read. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap up here. Next episode, we are going to be reading the first chapter of Six of Crows by Leah Bordeaux. So if you want to read along, get yourself a copy of the book, and join us as we read that. As always, make sure you share, like, subscribe, or follow the podcast on your preferred platform. It helps get the word out. We have our Discord linked in our YouTube description, so you can join that there. Drop in the YouTube comments or in the Discord a fantasy question that you have for us. And before we close though, we're gonna say our TBRs. So what we've finished reading and what we're reading for fun next. So like obviously we're doing Six of Crows, but like on the side, if we're reading anything else, what are we reading? So who wants to start us off?
I'll take it. I guess.
Okay, you go.
I'm still reading The Dragon Reborn. Still on that one.
Robert Jordan, nice.
Yep.
What about you, Dylan?
I was told y'all I was reading the Pariah last episode. I'm on the second book, The Martyr. Ooh. And I 100% recommend them. I've enjoyed the hell out of them.
Yeah. Mine I'm gonna pull off the shelf because I just finished it. So I just finished. Oh, I grabbed the wrong one. Look at me go. They're both blue. I just finished Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson, which was Secret Project 3 from his Kickstarter. And it was really good. I had a good time reading it, but it's probably my lowest rated Sanderson book, but I think it's because I don't like romances. So, but I did enjoy it. It's like Freaky Friday meets like fantasy Japanese influence. It's really cool. I enjoyed it.
Have you started Tress yet, Whitson?
No, I haven't started it yet. I've been trying to. Well, I've just wanted to get through Wheel of Time really badly, so I haven't picked up anything else.
No, I feel that.
The second season's coming out on Amazon soon.
I know. and that's why I'm reading The Great Hunt next.
Dude, I want those covers so bad. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. I'm bitching to anyone and everyone who. This is not a sticker. That is not a sticker.
I have that same copy at the house.
Why? Why?
Oh my gosh! But yeah,
just what you want on your books, Amazon stickers.
Yeah.
That aren't stickers.
I told Whitson a while ago that I stopped reading The Great Hunt because I had to start back up school, and he was like, "I can't believe how could you have done that?" And I'm like, "I know."
Especially where you left off. Too.
So I'm excited to get back into it and go from there for the Amazon show.
Yeah, those are really good. So I have a question.
Yep.
You can include this or not include this episode. Do we want to like start opening up our reading list a little bit? Like have people, I mean, I don't know. I guess we need like more community engagement.
Yeah,
to do
if we
that,
can get more people to join the Discord and stuff, then I would be 100% down for taking recommendations and like
for sure.
we could do a month where they vote on the book we read.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd be down for a Discord poll. I'd be down for that.
Yeah,
but we need you guys to join the Discord to do that.
Yep, need everybody to join the Discord.
Yep, if you're listening, if you're reading along with us, join up. We would love to talk to people about this stuff in real time.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun, having a lot more community interaction.
Yep.
But I think that's where we're gonna go ahead and end this episode. This was a great book. I'm glad we read it. I'm excited to jump into the next one though. So we'll go ahead and end it here, and we will see you all in the next one.
Peace.